external energy Maya to control, no?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That's why Krishna is inconceivable. Nobody
Mm-hmm.
can understand him. He can, in that first verse of the Bhagavatam, he can make fire on the land and water on the fire and all these things he can do. He can bewilder everyone.
Yeah.
That's his. That's why me, no one knows, Krishna says. Even Lord Brahma admits that someone can say they know everything, but as far as I'm concerned, with my four heads, I say I don't know him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this is the position of God. No, God has to be, the word has to be inconceivable. God cannot
Mm-hmm.
be somebody that you can conceive, then he's not God.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
This is how
Achintya. Mm-hmm.
controlling everything. Although we are given some independence, and we are thinking that I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and by Maya's arrangement, we all feel and think that actually I'm the doer.
Mm.
That is not a fact. It is all done by his three modes of material nature. You understand?
Understand? Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm. So this is how Krishna is all pervading. That's why to become a servant of Krishna is our greatest good fortune. Hmm?
Yep. Yes, Babaji. Mm.
Hmm. Yeah. So you can see here Lord Brahma is saying, it's the position Brahma is finally saying. There are people who say, I know everything about Krishna. Let them think that way. As far as I'm concerned, I do not wish to speak very much about this matter. Oh my Lord, let me say this much. As far as your opulence are concerned, they are all beyond the reach of my mind, body, and words. If they are beyond the reach of Brahma, how can we common living entities, understand this?
Yeah.
Hmm? Yes. See, even in the first verse of the Bhagavatam.
Right. Mm.
Yeah, this word here, Tejo Vari Mridam, in this verse here.
Tejo Varimritam.
Hmm? You see here, Teja means fire, Vari means water,
Mm.
Mridam, earth. So
Tejo.
the translation is see, by him even the great sages and demigods are placed into illusion. You see this line here?
Even the great.
As one is bewildered by the illusory
Mm.
representation of water seen in fire or land seen on water, because his energies are very,
Mm.
you
Interchangeable also. Mm.
you cannot figure it out. Only because of him do the material universes temporarily manifested by the reaction of the three modes of nature appear factual, although they are unreal. You understand? He can make all this. Behold my mystic opulence. Just now we read, no? Both eyes.
Yeah.
Yoga Swaryam.
Jagashara.
Hmm. So like now you say, well, he cannot, whenever he is there, no darkness will be there. But
Yeah.
he can still make darkness function even though he is there, his energy.
Correct.
Ah, that's why Krishna is not an ordinary personality. In fact, he created this whole thing in his dream stage. In his dreaming, he created the universe, and in the universe he goes inside again. Ah,
Mm.
In his dream, he is going inside.
Mhm.
How is it possible? Can you enter your dream? Huh? Can. So this is his power, you know. That's why to think that Krishna is an ordinary person is the most foolish. Avajanante mam mudha
Mm.
manushi tanu mastritam, you know, Bhagavad Gita, correct?
Yeah.
Hmm? You cannot measure Krishna, you know. It's not possible. Hmm? That's why there's no Brahma said, no, anyone who think he can do that is most foolish, you know. Huh?
Param Bhavam Ajan.
Who will deride me when I descend in this human form? You do not know my transcendental nature as the supreme lord of all that be. Krishna called people who try to minimize his position as some fools. You understand? And Krishna is not obligated also to explain all this to everybody. No, he's not interested. Only that's why he said here in the Bhagavad Gita, no, because you are my devotee and my friend, huh?
Rahasyam.
You can understand me. Bhaktoshi me shakat
Sakale.
rahasyam ya etad uttamam. Hmm. This very ancient science of the relation with the Supreme is today told by me to you because you are my devotee as well as my friend. I can therefore and can therefore understand the transcendental mystery of the science. You understand here?
Mm-hmm.
What used here? The transcendental
History.
mystery of the science. How is he inside and he's outside and he's not there, you know? It's inconceivable,
Mm.
you know. So therefore we must surrender. There's no other recourse. We cannot try to speculate and analyze. That's not possible.
Mm.
That's not possible. How many years you can speculate also, you will not be able to figure this out. Understand? The more
Yes.
you try to figure this out, the more it'll become inconceivable.
Yeah.
Understand? God
And
is not
it's
obligated to, you know, because someone demand he has to submit. No, there's no such thing for him. No,
mm.
you follow?
Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
Oh, we have to surrender. That's the only thing. There's no other recourse to this, though. Hmm?
Yeah. Thanks, Prabhu.
Someone is asking this question. MK, who's this MK? Can you please share if this world is perverted reflection of Goloka? Does things that are present here, like different countries, cities, hobbies, or family life, also exist in Goloka? Yeah, in Goloka also there, everything is there. Families are there. Gopis have children. The cowherd boys, they are running. The cows are there. Everything is there. So it's a reflection. The material world is but a reflection, but it is perverted. Perverted in a sense that instead of serving Krishna, they are serving the senses. You know, and the material world, it is temporary and miserable. Whereas the spiritual world is permanent and it is full of happiness. That's why it's called Vaikunta. Material world is called Kunta, full of anxiety and problems. Whereas the spiritual world is full of happiness and it is permanent. So everything that you see here, even like relationship, everybody has relationship. Someone is servant, someone is, friend, and someone is parent, someone is, uh, wife, lover, conjugal, etc. But all these relationships are temporary. When there's some problem, the servant may go away or the master may terminate the services. And if similarly, friendship is only good as long as mutually benefits the party. If it doesn't, then For a little fight, a friendship can break. Hmm? All motivated. Whereas in the spiritual world, everything is based on Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam, ever increasing ocean of bliss. It does not terminate like the material world because the soul is eternally a servant of Krishna. So when he is rightly situated in his original position as servant of Krishna, then again everything is revived. His lost relationship is established and he feels, fully happy. Just like when the Jaya and Vijay were cursed and they were supposed to come to the material world, they were given options, either you take 7 lives as devotees or you take 3 lives as demons to come back. They chose to take 3 lives as demons so that they quickly can return. So once you go there, you have this relationship with Krishna. You don't want anything to terminate that. Even if Krishna offers everything, still the devotee is not interested at all because that place with Krishna, it is so overwhelming. Hmm? See, the devotee, they don't want. Everything that can be achieved by fruitive activity, penance, knowledge, detachment, mystic yoga, charity, religious duty, and all other means of perfecting life is easily achieved by my devotee through loving service unto me. If somehow or other my devotee desires promotion to heaven, liberation, or residence in my abode, he easily achieves such benediction. But uh, because my devotee possess saintly behavior and deep intelligence, they completely dedicate themselves to me and do not desire anything besides me. See this thing here? They do not want anything besides Krishna. Indeed, even if I offer them liberation from birth and death, they do not accept it. Hmm? So there's a difference because once you get Krishna, it is complete. Krishna is complete in everything. There's nothing lacking in him. You understand? Yeah. So you can see here, Om Purna Adaha Purnamidam Purna Purnam Udyachite Purnasya Purnam Adhaya Purnam Eva Vasishyate. This is the position of the Lord. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is perfect and complete. And because he is completely perfect, all emanation from him, such as this phenomenal world, are perfectly equipped as complete wholes. Whatever is produced by the complete whole is also complete in itself. Because he is complete whole, even though as many complete units emanate from him, he remains the complete balance. So this is his position. Because the spiritual world, there is no modes of material nature, there's no anxiety. So the living entity is full of joy and bliss. Whereas the material world is a reflection of the spiritual world. But the only problem here is that everything is temporary and miserable. That's explained by the Lord also. Uh, See this? After attaining me, the great souls or yogis in devotion never return to this temporary world, which is full of miseries, because they have attained the highest perfection. So this temporary world is full of miseries, whereas the spiritual world is full of bliss. Huh? There is no sun, moon, electricity, nothing. Krishna explains about the spiritual world also. Hmm? He says that the spiritual world, Krishna gives some glimpse of the spiritual world. The supreme abode of mind is not illumined by the sun or moon, nor by fire or electricity. Those who reach it never return to this material world. So in the Bhagavad Gita, he spoke very briefly what the spiritual world is all about. Huh? So try to understand that how this material world is different, spiritual world is different. Huh? Yes, you cannot understand what is the spiritual world is all about. It's impossible to figure out the spiritual world. Hmm. Yes, who is asking this question?
I am K Prabhu. I think he's also replying on the chat, Prabhu.
What's he saying?
Haribol. So he's so MK Prabhu, you may unmute yourself if you would like to acknowledge or have a follow-up.
Not speaking, huh?
Yeah, but chatting. Okay.
What's he saying on the chat?
Hey Haribol. Oh, he's the sex. Got the answer.
Not saying
Cannot
anything.
speak, Prabhu. Got the answer. Okay. So he's asking, there is a follow-up question. So what does Krishna mean when he says there was never a time when neither you or I did not exist?
Never was a time what?
There was never a time when neither you nor I did exist. I did
That
not exist.
it doesn't say not exist. That is speaking about individuality. Hmm? In the
Yeah,
chapter
ego nam.
further, chapter 2, he is saying this verse. Huh?
Nitya Nityanam.
Huh? Right?
Oh, oh, Bhagavad Gita, sorry.
So here he's saying this verse. Hmm? Never was a time when I did not exist. That means he is eternally existing. No you. So also you are eternally existing. Now all these kings are also existing. No in the future shall any one of us cease to be. Because this is contrary to the Mayavad philosophy that you merge your individuality and you kind of become one with God. So this thing is not supported by this statement. Krishna says you will always be an individual. You understand? That's why even if you merge, you still stay there in the, as a tiny spirit soul hanging in the Brahman effulgence. And the moment you desire some service, you fall down again to the material world. So that means individuality is always there. It's not that it is, what do you call that, merged and it is, it vanishes. No. So this verse implies that you will always remain an eternal servant. You cannot, like, what you say, the Buddhists all say that you merge into the void and you become nothing. So this philosophy is not valid. At least it's not supported by Krishna. Hmm? You understand? No, the Mayavad philosophy, they merge into the Brahman and they become one with God, they say. That is also not supported here by Krishna. So all these philosophies are not sound. Just like Ramanuja, he gave the example of a green bird flying into a green tree. Huh? So the bird, although emerges into the tree, but it still retains its individuality as a bird in the tree. Yes?
Mhm.
Oh, correct.
Yeah.
It is never not there. Huh? Yes?
Yes,
Yes.
bro.
Hmm. So this we have to understand, So we have to know this thing. So in this way we understand why Krishna spoke this verse. Hmm? And I think among everybody, Krishna knows best, no? Yes?
Yes, bro.
Hmm. Okay, what are the other questions?
So the other one is, what is some of the best prayers seeking devotional service in Bhagavatam?
What is some of the best prayers seeking devotional service in the Bhagavatam? The best prayer is to chant Hare Krishna. They're taught by our acharyas. What more best prayer you want? Huh? Huh? Of course, the whole Bhagavatam is prayers, but we are told to chant Hare Krishna specifically by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Prabhupada, downline. Hare Nam, Hare Nam. Huh? What are the prayers? Of course, you got time, you can chant so many other prayers, nobody is stopping you, but you have to learn how to chant Hare Krishna, Mahamantra, given by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Yes? Hello? Who is this?
Um,
Huh?
Incognito. HH cannot decipher who's that. I'd request if it's convenient if they can unmute and speak Prabhuji or Mataji. I don't know.
This is Amit Patel. My question is the deity worship Gaur recommended for householders who want to serve the Lord at home? When there is no temple close to a place, what are the qualifications required? Are there any offense during deity worship? So, for householders, Srila Prabhupada said, he said that the devotees who are at home, they should worship deities. So let us go into that first. Why deity worship is important? Someone want to read this for me? Can someone read?
Sure. Yeah. I'll read. Mayavadis and atheists accept the forms of the deities in the temple of the Lord as idols. But devotees do not worship idols. They directly worship the personality of Godhead in his Archa incarnation. Archa refers to the form which we can worship in our present condition. Actually, in our present state, it is not possible to see God in his spiritual form because our material eyes and senses cannot conceive of a spiritual form. We cannot even see the spiritual form of the individual soul. When a man dies, we cannot see how the spiritual form leaves the body. There is a defect of our material senses. In order to be seen by our material senses, the Supreme Personality of Godhead accepts a favorable form, which is called Archa Vigraha. This Archa Vigraha, sometimes called the Archa incarnation, is not different from him. Just as the Supreme Personality of Godhead accepts various incarnations, he takes on forms made out of matter, which is clay, wood, metal, and jewels. There are many shastric injunctions which give instructions for carving forms of the Lord. These forms are not material. If God is all pervading, then he is also in the material elements. There is no doubt about it. But the atheists think otherwise. Although they preach that everything is God, when they go to the temple and see the form of the Lord, they deny that he is God. According to their own theory, everything is God. Then why is a deity not God? Actually, they have no conception of God. The devotee's vision, however, is different. Their vision is smeared with love of God. As soon as they see the Lord in his different forms, the devotees become saturated with love, for they do not find any difference between the Lord and his form in the temple, as do the atheists. The smiling face of the deity in the temple is beheld by the devotees as transcendental and spiritual, and the decoration of the body of the Lord is very much appreciated by the devotees. It is a duty of the spiritual master to teach how to decorate the deity in the temple, how to cleanse the temple, and how to worship the deity. There are different procedures and rules and regulations which are followed in the temples of Vishnu. And devotees go there and see the deity, the Vigraha, and spiritually enjoy the form because all of the deities are benevolent. The devotees express their minds before the deity, and in many instances, the deity also gives answers. But one must be a very elevated devotee in order to be able to speak with the Supreme Lord. Sometimes the Lord informs the devotee through dreams. These exchanges of feelings between the deity and the devotee are not understandable by the atheists. But actually, the devotee enjoys them. Kapila Muni is explaining how the devotees see the decorated body and face of the deity and how they speak with him in devotional service.
So here from here you see how devotees are encouraged uh, to establish some relationship with the deities. So here Krishna is, Prabhupada is explaining here.
The eyes which do not look
Yeah.
at the symbolic representations of the personality of Godhead Vishnu, his forms, name, quality, etc., are like those printed on the plumes of a peacock, and the legs which do not move to the holy places where the Lord is remembered are considered to be like tree trunks. Especially for the householder devotees, the path of deity worship is strongly recommended. As far as possible, every householder, by the direction of the spiritual master, must install the deity of Vishnu. Forms like Radha Krishna, Lakshmi Narayan, or Sitaram, especially, or any other form of the Lord, like Nrsimha, Varaha, Gauranitai, Matsya, Kurma, Salagramashila, and many other forms of Vishnu, like Trivikrama, Keshava, Achyuta, Vasudev, Narayana, and Damodaram, as they are recommended in the Vaishnava Tantras or Puranas. And one should worship the deity with one's family, following the directions and regulations of Archana Vidhi. Any member of the family who is above 12 years of age should be initiated by a bona fide spiritual master, and all the members of the household should be engaged in the daily service of the Lord, beginning from the morning 4 a.m. till night 10 p.m. by performing Mangala Arti, Nirjana, Shayan Arti, Nirjana Archana, Puja, Kirtana, Shringara, Bhoga Vaikali, um, Sandhya Arti, Patha Bhoga at night, Shayan Arti, etc. Engagement in such worship of the deity under the direction of a bona fide spiritual master will greatly help the householders to purify their very existence and make rapid progress in spiritual knowledge. Simple theoretical book knowledge is not sufficient for a neophyte devotee. Book knowledge is theoretical, whereas the archana process is practical. Spiritual knowledge, spiritual knowledge must be developed by a combination of theoretical and practical knowledge, and that is the guaranteed way of attainment of spiritual perfection. The training of devotional service for a neophyte devotee completely depends on the expert spiritual master who knows how to lead his disciple to make gradual progress on the path back home, back to Godhead. One should not become a pseudo spiritual master as a matter of business to meet one's family's expenditures. One must be an expert spiritual master to deliver the disciple from the clutches of impending death. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has defined the bona fide qualities of a spiritual master, and one of the verses in that description reads, Shri Vigraharadhana, Shri Vigraharadhana Nityanana, Shringaratan Mandiramarjanado, Yuktasya Bhaktam Chanyujanopi, Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam. Shri Vigraha is the archa or suitable worshipable form of the Lord, and the disciple should be engaged in worshipping the deity regularly by Shringara, proper decoration and dressing, proper decoration and dressing, as also by Mandira Marjana, the matter of cleansing the temple. The spiritual masters teaches the neophyte devotee all this kindly and personally to help him gradually in the realization of the transcendental name, quality, form, etc. of the Lord. Only attention engaged in the service of the Lord, especially in dressing and decorating the temple, accompanied by musical kirtan and spiritual instructions from the scriptures, can save the common man from the hellish cinema attractions and rubbish sex songs broadcast everywhere by radios. If one is unable to maintain if one is unable to maintain a temple at home, he should go to another temple where all the above performances are regularly executed. Visiting the temple of a devotee and looking at the profusely decorated forms of the Lord, well, well dressed in a well decorated, sanctified temple, naturally infuse the mundane mind with spiritual inspiration. People should visit holy places like Vrindavana, where such temples and worship of the deity are specifically maintained. Formerly, all rich men like kings and rich merchants constructed such temples under the direction of expert devotees of the Lord, like the six Goswamis. And it is duty of the common man to take advantage of these temples and festivals observed in the holy places of the pilgrimage by following in the footsteps of great devotees. Anuvraja. One should not visit all these sanctified pilgrimage places and temples with sightseeing in the mind. But one must go to such temples and sanctified places immortalized by the transcendental pastimes of the Lord and be guided by proper men who know the signs. This is called Anuvraja. Anu means to follow. It is therefore best to follow the instruction of the bona fide spiritual master, even in visiting temples and the holy places of pilgrimage. One who does not move in that way is as good as a standing tree, condemned by the Lord not to move. The moving tendency of the human being is misused by visiting places for sightseeing. The best purpose of such traveling tendencies could be fulfilled by visiting the holy places established by great acharyas, and thereby not being misled by the atheistic propaganda of money-making men who have no knowledge of spiritual matters.
So we see here how it's important, Prabhupada said, for the householders to worship the deities. So of course, it's best performed if the person is duly initiated, and that becomes, more proper. But if someone is not, then what to do? So I basis to have Gornitai deities, because worshipping Gornitai deities is no offense. So that would be a much preferred, position. So you can get Gornitai deities and you can install them. I mean, you can put them on your altar and do, and you can learn from the other devotees how to do the basic offering and worship. And when you get properly initiated and you become Brahminical initiated, then you can learn many other things, Yes?
Yes, thank you so much, Prabhuji. I got the answer. Thanks for the detailed explanation.
Mm. When we decided to come here on earth from Goloka, was it a conscious decision? Did Krishna tell us how we will suffer here, but we still came? Yes, Prabhupada said it is because of free will. Prabhupada said that because of the free will, we made the decision. Every living entity has got the freedom of choice. Hmm? So because of free will, we decided to misuse our independence. So we have come here. Hmm? This is our biggest mistake. Hmm? The living entity by nature has minute independence to choose his own good or bad fortune. This is the position. But when he forgets his supreme master, the personality of Godhead, he gives himself up to the modes of material nature. When influenced by the modes of material nature, he identifies himself with the body and for the interest of the body become attached to various activities, sometimes under the influence of mode of ignorance, sometimes the mode of passion, and sometimes the mode of goodness. The living entity thus gets different types of body under the modes of material nature. So this is the position of our independence. If we that there are two classes of living entity, the Nitya Siddhas, eternally liberated, and you have the Nitya Baddhas, eternally conditioned. So the eternally liberated soul, they never get misled. They are always serving Krishna and they never fall down. Whereas the Nitya Baddhas are eternally conditioned and they have since time immemorial, been in this material world trying to enjoy. Hmm? This the position. Hmm? Can someone help read?
Hey, Krishna Prabhu, Mary.
Please.
Ah, translation. The living entities, jivas, are divided into two categories. Some are eternally liberated and others are eternally conditioned. Those who are eternally liberated are always awake to Krishna consciousness, and they um, render transcendental loving service at the feet of Lord Krishna. They are to be considered eternal associates of Krishna, and they are eternally enjoying the transcendental bliss of serving Krishna. Apart from the ever liberated devotees, there are there are the conditioned souls who always turn away from the service of the Lord. They are perpetually conditioned in this material world and are subject to material tribulations brought about by different bodily forms of hellish condition. Due to his being opposed to Krishna consciousness, the conditioned soul is punished by the witch of the external energy, Maya. He is thus ready to suffer the threefold miseries brought about by the body, mind, and the inimical behavior of the other living entities and natural disturbances caused by the demigods.
Hmm. Carry on, read, please.
Yes. Translation. In this way, the conditioned soul becomes the servant of lusty desires, and when these are not fulfilled, he becomes a servant of anger and continues to be kicked by the external energy, Maya, wandering throughout the universe. He may by chance get the association of a devotee physician. Those instructions and hymns make the witch of the external energy flee. The conditioned soul thus gets into touch with devotional service to Lord Krishna, and in this way, he can approach nearer and nearer to the Lord.
Can you read the purport?
Yes, purport. The explanation of these verses 8 through 15 is given by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in the Amrita Pravatnam Bhashya. The Lord is spread throughout the creation in his quadruple expansions and incarnations. Krishna is fully represented with all potencies in each and every personal expansion, but the living entities, although separated expansions, are also considered one of the Lord's energies. The living entities are divided into two categories: eternally liberated and the eternally conditioned. Those who are ever liberated never come into contact with Maya, the external energy. The ever-conditioned souls are always under the clutches of external energy. This is described by Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, verse 14. This energy of mind, consisting of the three modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome. Nitya buddhas are always conditioned by the external energy, and the Nitya muktas never come in contact with the external energies. Sometimes a ever liberated personal associate of the Supreme Personality of Godhead descends into this universe just as the Lord descends. Although working for the liberation of the conditioned souls, the messenger of the Supreme Lord remains untouched by the material energy. Generally, ever liberated personalities live in the spiritual world as the associates of Krishna, and they are known as Krishna Pers, Pers, Peri, Parisada, associates of the Lord. Their only business is enjoying Lord Krishna's companies. Even though such eternally liberated persons come within the material world to serve the Lord's purpose, they enjoy Lord Krishna's company without stoppage. The ever liberated person who works on Krishna's behalf enjoys Lord Krishna's company through his engagement. The ever conditioned soul, provoked by lusty desire to enjoy the material world, is forced to transmigrate from one body to another. Sometimes he is elevated to higher planetary systems, and sometimes he is degraded to hellish planets and subjected to the tribulations of the external energy. Due to being conditioned by the external energy, the conditioned soul within the material world gets two kinds of bodies: a gross body and a subtle material body, composed of mind, intelligence, and ego. Due to the gross and subtle bodies, he is subject to the threefold excuse me, he is subject to the threefold miseries: Adhyatmika, Adhibhautika, and Adhidevika. Uh, miseries arising from the body and mind and other living entities and natural disturbances caused by the demigods from higher planetary systems. The conditioned soul subjected to the threefold material miseries is ceaselessly kicked by Maya, and this is his disease. If by chance he meets a saintly person who get who works on Krishna's behalf to deliver conditioned souls, if he agrees to abide by his order, he can gradually approach the supreme personality of Godhead, Krishna.
So this is how the living entity has misused his independence and therefore is rotting here in the material world. So why he comes down? Again, the answer is his misuse. There's no other answer to that. So now that we are here, we should try to get out of this condition. It's more important to worry about getting back rather than worrying about how we came down. Yes?
Yes,
Hello?
Guru.
Hmm? Pointless to worry about how we fell, but it's important to work our way out of this. And the only way we can do this is by associating with a pure devotee of Krishna. By that association, we can revive back our intelligence, our misused intelligence, purify our consciousness, and as Krishna says, go back to the spiritual world, not return again. Yes? Hello?
Yes, Guru.
Who asked this question?
MK.
Is it clear?
It's I think MK bro. I think he cannot unmute.
Not speak, maybe he will chat. So you see how important we are, because although we have fallen down, it's not some kind of a cheap thing to get out. We have to really prove ourselves that we don't want to have anything to do again here in the material world. That's why Krishna is accompanying us in the heart. Super Soul is watching, witnessing all our activities and is sanctioning. So the moment we understand that this material world is a waste of time, that we can only do if we associate with pure devotees. Otherwise, we will never learn this. So association with pure devotees is the crux of this reformation. Without association, nobody can actually become purified enough to get out of this material world. It's not possible. Hmm? So I say, sadhu sangha, sarva sastra hoy. Lava mantra sadhu sangha, sarva siddhi hoy. Associating with devotees is the most important thing. Immediately we get purified. Moments association we get purified. So much powerful this program is. That's why it is so much trust. Yes. Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Shastra Kaya, Lava Mantra Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhi Haya. The Vedic of all revealed scripture is that by a moment's association with the pure devotee, one can attain all success. According to astronomical calculation, lava is 1/11th of a second. So you see how important this whole thing is to revive our proper thinking. Right now we have contaminated thoughts, because we have been soaking in Maya for a long time. So we need to become purified. And purification can happen only when we take shelter of a pure devotee. Otherwise, it's not possible. It's not possible at all. The value of woman's association with a devotee of the Lord cannot be compared even to the attainment of heavenly planets or liberation from matter. And what to speak of worldly benediction in the form of material prosperity, which is for those who are meant for death. This is a quotation of Srimad Bhagavatam 1:18-13. This verse concerns the Vedic rites and sacrifice performed by the great sages of Namastranya, headed by Saunaka Rishi. The sages pointed out that association with a devotee for even less than a second is beyond comparison to 1,000 Vedic rituals and sacrifice, elevation to heavenly planets, or merging into the existence of the Supreme. Krishna is so merciful that simply by aiming his instruction Arjuna, he has given protection to the whole world. Because you are my very dear friend, I am speaking to you my supreme instruction, the most confidential knowledge of all. Hear this from me, for it is for your benefit. Always think of me and become my devotee. Worship me and offer your homage unto me. Thus you will come to me without fail. I promise you this because you are my very dear friend. So this is from Bhagavad Gita. Although Krishna previously explained the proficiency of executing Vedic rituals, performing fruitive activity as enjoined in the Vedas, practicing yoga and cultivating jnana, this last instruction is the most powerful and stand above all the others. If the devotee has faith in the strength of this order, he worships Lord Krishna and gives up all other activities. As long as one is not satiated by fruitive activity, has not awakened his taste for devotional service or by Shravan Kirtan Vishnu, one has to act according to the regulated principle of the Vedic injunctions. This is from the 11th canto, 11:29. So, this is another important verse here. Faith, Shraddha is confident, firm faith that by rendering transcendental service to Krishna, one automatically perform all subsidiary activities. Such faith is favorable for discharge of devotional service. So of course, we have to have faith, and faith can only strengthen by associating with devotees, the pure devotee. Otherwise, how to strengthen the faith? Yes.
Yes, Prabhu.
So one devotee was asking me this question. He said, Prabhu, I'm practicing for some time now, chanting and all that. But sometimes I get all these doubts, why these things are coming to me. Although I am chanting and doing, but why sometimes this mind, all these kind of problems, why? So, because he asked me if you got relevant verses to show me why this is happening. So, I try to, show him some verses. Nevertheless, until by firmly practicing devotional service to me, one has completely eliminated from his mind all contamination of material passion, one must very carefully avoid associating with the material modes which are produced by my illusory energy. Okay? So we have to be very careful, although we are firmly practicing. One must eliminate from the mind all contamination of material passion. One must very carefully avoid associating with material modes which are produced by my illusory energy. And of course, in the next verse, it says here, just as an improperly treated disease reoccurs and gives repeated distress to the patient, the mind that is not completely purified of its perverted tendency will remain attached to material things and repeatedly torment the imperfect yogi. Understand this? Hmm? Just as an improperly treated disease reoccurs and gives repeated distress to the patient, the mind that is not completely purified of its perverted tendencies will remain attached to the material things and repeatedly torment the imperfect yogi. Hmm. Yes. And therefore, Krishna says hmm, that one should become very serious. Hmm. Very important that he practice this devotional service in a determined manner. Otherwise, again and again, he can get disturbed, no?
Mm, that's a fact.
When the sun rises, it destroys the darkness covering man's eyes, but it does not create objects that may see before them, which in fact will existing all along. Similarly, potent and factual realization of me will destroy the darkness covering a person's true consciousness. Hmm. So here, the inauspicious disturbances can be gradually removed by constant remembrance of me, by congregationally hearing and chanting of my holy name, or by following in the footsteps of the great masters of yoga. So this is the process, You have to become fixed up by regularly doing this program. Otherwise, it's like him asking the question that why, because you're not doing it regularly. So you will always get all these doubts coming, bewilderment. One of the things about false ego is that it creates these doubts, because false ego is very powerful. So unless we get rid of false ego by strictly following the acharyas and the principle given by them, then then otherwise we have no recourse. Ah, and it's dangerous because the faith gets shattered. For the doubting souls, there's neither happiness in this world nor for the next. Hmm. You cannot practice devotional service when you have doubts. Doubts are compared to demons, actually. The Bhagavad Gita, Krishna, Arjuna was saying that, please clear my doubts. Uh, yes, yes or not? Hello.
Yeah, like these are like something. very important, Prabhu. And it's been helping me ever since, I took your advice and everything.
Mm. That's why we have to be very, very careful. Spiritual life is not something that we, be very casual or, whatever, Hmm? You understand? Spiritual life is a serious subject matter. And we must learn how to practice spiritual life very seriously. Hmm? But ignorant and faithless person who doubt the revealed scriptures do not attain God consciousness, they fall down. For the doubting soul, there is happiness neither in this world nor in the next. So doubts are very, very dangerous. That's why Krishna, Arjuna said, in this verse, he says here, Nasta Moham, you see here, my illusion is now gone, you see, is free from doubts. I'm now firm and free from doubts. I'm prepared to act according to your instruction. So this is the point of devotional service. We have to come to this point where we are completely free from all this anarthas, disturbances. That's why we have to inquire. If we have anything going on in our heart, we should open our mind and speak. Just like Arjuna, not for you, I don't see anybody who can clear my doubts. He said, no. You follow? Yeah, that's why he said, this now, this verse. Therefore, the doubts which have risen in your heart out of ignorance should be slashed by the weapon of knowledge. Armed with yoga of Bharata, stand and fight. Ah. So these doubts must be cleared. Krishna said, this is the last verse in the chapter 4. Hmm? So we have to become very strong. Otherwise, these doubts will again surface in our hearts. You understand? It is not something that you do, you like, you do, you don't like, you don't do. Then you cannot become very fixed up, Just now we read, yogi who is not careful, this whole thing will surface again like an untreated disease. It could give a lot of headaches, no? Yes? Hello?
Yes. I mean, like,
Yeah.
that's something that's
So you
really
have
important.
very fixed up, That's why the Bhagavad Gita we also read many times, Hmm? No. Mamcha yo vyabhicharenena bhakti yogena sevate saguna samatityayitan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. So one who engages in full devotional service can see the word here, unfailing in all circumstances. This unfailing in all circumstances is very important. That's why we are stressing you try to be regulated. You wake up in the morning, you do your morning program. Again and again we are stressing this point. If you don't do this, then spiritually you get swept away. Literally you will be finished. You'll be swept away. And again you get attracted to all this material uh, allurements. In this way, you become very distressful. There's no other shortcuts. To go above the modes is the most important thing, and you cannot do it without becoming very, very serious in the matter. Yes.
Yes, Prabhu.
Oh, who is this MK? Hello? Hello? Very, what do you say, impersonal. MK. Why don't you write your name down? Who's this?
Thank you, Prabhu. If you can just chat your name, Mahek, from which place, your number, so that some of us can get in touch with you. Thanks. So Mahek Prabhu from Gujarat.
Oh,
Mahek.
from Gujarat, huh?
Yeah.
So you give your number and details, other devotees can also get to you, because chanting to chant, the most important thing is to chant in the association of devotees. And if you cannot, then at least you put on Prabhupada tape and chant along with him and hear Prabhupada's chanting. That will help your chanting improve. That's the best, because to hear from a pure devotee is most purifying, you know. This is spoken by Lord Shiva, you know. Because you can chant, but when you chant with the help of a pure devotee, it becomes more powerful, you know. Hmm? Lord Shiva voluntarily came to bless the sons of the king as well as to do something beneficial for them. He personally chanted the mantra so the mantra would be more powerful, and he advised that the mantra be chanted by the king's son, Rajaputras. When a mantra is chanted by a great devotee, the mantra becomes more powerful. Although the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is powerful in itself, disciple upon initiation receive the mantra from his spiritual master. For when the mantra is chanted by the spiritual master, it becomes more powerful. Lord Shiva advised the sons of the king to hear him attentively, for inattentive hearing is offensive. So this is the best you can think. If you can get initiated and then you can chant, it'll be the best. And otherwise, you can always play Prabhupada tape chanting and hear the chanting and chant along, and that will be also very beneficial for anyone who's wanting to become a devotee. This is the best you can see. Shastric advice here Prabhupada is saying. That's why in our temples and all, when we all chant in the morning, we together, which is very, very effective, chanting together. And this, we play Prabhupada's tape in the morning and we chant along with him. And this is very, very powerful. I'm sure most of you are chanting along with Prabhupada. Yes?
Yes, Prabhu.
Hmm? Yes? I am connected to, who is this? Oh, Shiva Mataji. Connect to Aneswara Mataji. Oh, I see. All right, should take help with her and try to become more serious. Any other questions? Hello? Nobody has any more questions, huh? I have 40 over of you here and nobody has questions. Very strange, huh? Hello?
Subramaniam Prabhu is trying to ask a question.
All right, you can unmute and ask. He's here. Thought it was a question and answer session.
He prefers to type the question, bro. It's
Is
typing.
that- Okay, I'll type out my question, Prabhu. Okay, what's your question? Hello. Sometimes I'm showing some things, and some of you are seeing, and then you are kind of sometimes getting worried when I show some verses which are very terrifying, you know. Huh? And instead of clarifying with us, then you, I don't know, you are right to somebody else and something and something. uh, so that's, I don't know. So you have anything that sometimes I show the verses, you may not be understanding them. Maybe you can ask for clarification. Nothing wrong with that. Yes? Did he write this thing down? He's still writing?
He's still writing. Others also can chime in and ask questions if there are any. It helps others also to know. So no question is a silly one.
I, I mean, I do have one question, Prabhu.
Yeah.
You know how there's like this technology of AI with deep fake, and you know they're able to mimic people's voices and faces and everything. Now, what if someone messes with Prabhupada's recording and whatnot and try to imitate his voice or something? Like many people who don't know Prabhupada would think that this person who is impersonating Prabhupada is that's like what his words are, but actually it's not.
But it's
So
difficult, you know, if you know the philosophy, if you have been reading Prabhupada books, Prabhupada will not just come out and say something out of the blues, you know. Yeah? You understand? So if
that's a fact.
someone makes some kind of thing mimicking Prabhupada and putting their crazy philosophy, I mean, anyone who's a serious devotee can immediately figure out, you know, this is not correct, you know. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
By Prabhupada, you know, Vedic Shastras are so potent that you cannot try to do any kind of cheating. It's difficult because many times some points are overly stressed in many, many different parts of the scriptures, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Understand? So it's very difficult for someone to actually, you know, cheat. Because if we make something and Prabhupada is saying that, yeah, you can have illicit sex, will you agree to that?
Impossible.
Impossible. Because it's not something that Prabhupada will ever say. You understand?
Mm,
So we
that's
have to
correct.
know. That's why we have to know. We have to read the books and we have to know, you know, very important. That's why there's three aspects, sadhu, shastra and guru. Prabhupada said sadhus can make mistake and guru may make mistake, but shastra cannot make mistakes. Shastra is the base.
Mm,
You understand? And it's not so easy to do, you know, to get realization. As our whole thing is not just based on dry philosophy, you read and then you speak here and there, you know. You have to have realizations, you know. Realization is not something that simply, you know, anyone gets it, you know. It's revealed by Krishna and Guru. That's why the word is used as revelation. You understand?
mm,
Krishna say, I reveal this knowledge to you. So it is not like some people, I mean, I heard the Sai Baba group, they also got Prabhupada Bhagavad Gita and they read and they told Prabhupada, they are reading your, Prabhupada just laughed and said, they cannot understand. It is not so cheap.
uh,
You understand?
Evil, yes, that's a fact.
Life is not just something that is because the intelligence is given by Krishna and Krishna has the whole on everybody. I'm seated in the heart and I'm giving you the remembrance, the forgetfulness, and the intelligence. Yes? And Krishna is
Mm,
in the heart of everybody. He knows how to direct everybody, you know.
mm, he does.
So how to come out of these negative thoughts? That negative thoughts all are based on the modes of mental nature. So the only way to come out is to chant and to hear the chanting. Because the holy name of Krishna is non-different from Krishna. Only Krishna can make us come out of Maya. The moment you chant and you remember Krishna, then there's no more Maya. Maya cannot be there. That is the only solution. That's why Krishna says, if you surrender to me, you can overcome my Maya. There's no other way you can overcome this crazy thoughts and all that. It's all due to this, to as I've already explained, because of, not becoming very serious in our program, then this kind of thinkings always come. So the best way is to always chant, keep Krishna in our heart, because that's quite a task to keep Krishna in the heart. But at least we can chant and hear his name, and immediately this Maya will disappear from our heart. As he says this now the verse, Krishna is like the sun and Maya is darkness. Wherever there is Krishna's sun, and there cannot be any Maya. Hmm? So the chanting is so important. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us this mercy. Anyone who chants the holy name under his direction, then immediately he is free, from all disturbance. In fact, he says very quickly he will be able to see the lotus feet of the Lord. And once you see the lotus feet of the Lord, there's no more all this crazy disturbance. Even you periodically may get them, but the moment you quickly come back to Krishna, then these things will disappear. You understand? You should not forget that, You remember when you are in hardship, difficulty, you remember Krishna. How? You chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This is the best way. Otherwise, the other way is to talk to the devotees, especially if you have some senior devotees you can talk about, then that is also very helpful. By revealing your mind, then this Maya will also be diminished. Yes, so these are all facilities to help us cross over this. So, right, never mind if you are inattentive, it doesn't matter. Carry on chanting again and again and again. One day this thing will stop. It's not going to be forever inattentive. Just carry on, just patiently, gradually, your mind will become purified. It's not an overnight process. Just keep at it. And as it says, that verse I quoted so many times, more chanting will be helping us to overcome this inattentive chanting. Yes. So this is the only way. There is no other way to this. Nama aparada, that what we are doing. Yuktanam, namani eva aranti agaham. Avishranti prayuktani, tani eva artha karani cha. Even if in the beginning one chants the Hare Krishna mantra with offenses, one will become free from such offense by chanting again and again. Papachiyascha bhavati smarantam tam aham nisam ahanisam. One becomes free from all sinful reaction if one chants day and night, following the recommendation of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we just have to learn how to do it over and over again and fix up slowly, following the order of the Guru, Srila Prabhupada, 16 rounds. Yeah? Especially if you can do during the Brahma Muhurtam time, it's very auspicious. And of course, throughout the day, you may be disturbed, the mind may float here and there. So the best way is to always remember and chant. In this way, you can always bring your mind under control. Yes. Hello. Oh. All right. Any other questions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. This is Amit again. In reference to the same question, Prabhuji, Bhagavad Gita says, Satatam Kirtayanto Mam. So, how to remember Krishna 24 hours? Because, for example, if I'm working, right, my 8 or 9 hours of working, I'm not remembering Krishna. And it's only, when we are doing our sadhana of, 2 to 3 hours of chanting or reading books and all. So out of 24 hours, it's only 4 hours of, the max sadhana which we are doing. But how to remember in the rest of the hours?
So you see, you have to learn how to practice. This is what he says, practice. Krishna told Arjuna to remember him and fight, Yes?
Yeah.
The Bhagavad Gita, Krishna said to him, you see here.
Mamanusmara yuddhacha.
Hmm?
Mamanusmara yuddhacha.
So here Krishna said to Arjuna, Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu anusmara yuddhaya cha mayarpitamano buddhi mamevesi asamsayaha. Therefore, Arjuna, you should always think of me in the form of Krishna and at the same time carry out your prescribed duty of fighting. With your activities dedicated to me and your mind and intelligence fixed on me, you will attain me without doubt. So we have to try to, just like Prabhupada gave the analogy, suppose one woman is carrying a water pot on her head,
Mm-hmm.
going with another lady and they are talking and doing so many things, but she is always conscious that the water pot is on her head, no? Or suppose you are driving, your mind is fixed on the road, of course you must be. And the same time you are talking to somebody. Yes?
Right.
But your mind is on the road, no going. The same way, somehow or other you have to keep Krishna. At the same time you carry on your work. Now how you do it, you have to practice. That's why, we have to become Krishna conscious. You understand me?
Right.
So we have to think, everyone have to think of how to be Krishna conscious 24 hours, not only you. Because you work long hours, you can't be spacing out, then you go lose your job, no? Yes?
Yes.
When a picture of Krishna somewhere nearby, you can always glance at him. Somewhere, something. You have to think, Or you pray to Krishna and Krishna will give you the intelligence how to do it. This is how. Krishna has to
Okay.
give you the intelligence, no? Yes?
Yes.
So that's why we devotee, we pray, my dear Lord, please make me remember you. I don't want anything else. Just like in the Damodar Astaka, we pray, no? Varam deva moksham na moksha vadim va nachandar
Yeah.
varasada piya. I don't want anything else. This beautiful form of yours be ever manifested in my heart, and that's all I want, Yes. So this is how,
Yes. Yeah.
please, my dear Lord, you please come manifest in my heart. So that's why even the Madhvacharya, I see how he prays, he says here, just by him remembering Krishna, saying here in this prayer, Sandhya Vandanam Bhadramastu Bhavato Bho Snanam Tubhyam Namo. Bhu devas pitarascha tarpanam viddau naham chema cheyam tam yatra kwapi nisadya yadava kuloduttamasya kamsa divashaha smaram smaram agaham arami tam alam manye kim anye namye. Oh, my prayers 3 times a day, all glories to you. O bathing, I offer my obeisance unto you. O demigods, O forefathers, please excuse me for my inability to offer you my respects. Now, whenever I sit, I can remember the great descendant of the Yadu dynasty, Krishna, the enemy of Kamsa, and thereby I can free myself from all sinful bondage. I think this is sufficient for me. See that now this is the prayer of Madhavendra Puri. So he just remembers Krishna wherever he sit down and he says, this is okay for me already, you know. So you see how this is not some kind of a cheap program that to be able to remember Krishna. Just to remember him itself is so powerful. So we should try, you know. Yes.
That's right, Prabhuji. Yes.
Not something so cheap to get to catch.
Yeah.
Even Mother Yashoda, she tried to tie him up. It's so difficult, no?
Agreed.
Correct. So we have to pray for His mercy. That is this is why this is the mercy movement. No, unless the Lord gives us the mercy, how we can remember the Lord? Hmm? Yes.
That's correct. Yeah.
Any other questions? In the teachings of Lord Kapila, there it is mentioned that Kadama Muni left his household life and took sannyas. He left his wife in care of Lord Kapila. Prabhuji, can you help in explaining why he took sannyas when he already knew the Supreme Personality guarded him there, living with him? So why is the need to take sannyas? This question, Prabhupada explained this in the purport, when he took the sannyas. He said, Prabhupada said there, that he's setting an example. Although the Lord is in the house, but he still showed that why, as a householder, he should renounce. And of course, for him, although he going and Kapila is there, but he is a pure devotee. The Lord is always in his heart, So he is not that he left the Lord and the Lord is he's missing the Lord or whatever. No, because he is always carrying the Lord in the heart. So there was no question of separation from the Lord. But he's setting an example as how as an householder he has to leave the house at a certain age and take this renounce order. You understand? I think the purport, Prabhupada, if you read the whole chapter, Prabhupada is explaining that in that verse, That is what, what is it? No, love 322 or what? What is it? What is the number you read that? 22 or 24? Is it? Do you know what verse you are reading? Hello.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Actually, I was reading from the book Teachings of Lord Kapila.
Oh, you're reading the book. Okay, so you have to go to the verse, no? What is that verse? Anyone knows? Is it
Prabhuji, is it 3.24.34?
2234? Huh? Right, let's go there. No, it is not there. I think it's 23 and I wish 24. I think it's 24. So give me a minute. I'm just looking for it because there Prabhupada explained the purport.
Yes.
Prabhupada explained although the Supreme Lord was there in the house, he left. In the purport, Prabhupada is explaining this point. 324. So let us see now where this verse now. Can read this why he took sannyas and he left.
And in 25, 35, 324, 35.
So here
35, 44, 35.
so he took sannyas and he's going. $45, is it?
35, Prabhu. 34, 35.
34, 35, Right, 34. So here the purport. So Kadama Muni was to leave his family life to completely engage in the service of the Lord. But since he knew that the Lord himself as Kapila had taken birth in his home as his own son, why is he preparing to leave home to search out self-realization or God-realization? God himself is present in his home. Why should he leave home? Such a question may certainly arise, but here it is said that whatever is spoken in the Vedas and whatever is practiced in accordance with the injunction of the Vedas is to be accepted as authoritative in society. The Vedic authority says that a householder must leave home after his 50th year. Panchos Urdavam Varnam Vrajat. One must leave his family life and enter the forest after the age of 50. This is an authoritative statement of the Vedas based on the divisions of social life, four departments of activity: brahmachari, grahastha, vanaprastha, and sannyasa. Kadama Muni practiced yoga very rigidly as a brahmachari before his marriage, and he became so powerful and attained so much mystic power that his father Brahma ordered him to marry and beget children as householder. Kardama did that also. Begot 9 good daughters and one son, Kapila Muni, and thus his householder duty was also performed nicely. And now his duty was to live. Even though he had the Supreme Personality of Godhead as his son, he had to respect the authority of the Vedas. This is a very important lesson. Even if one has God in his home as his son, one should still follow the Vedic injunction. It is stated, Mahajano yena gatha sapantaha. One should traverse the path which is followed by great personalities. Kadama's Muni's example is very instructive, for in spite of having the Supreme Personality of Godhead as his son, he left home just to obey the authority of the Vedic injunction. Kadamba Muni states here that the main purpose of his living home while traveling all over the world as a mendicant, he should always remember the Supreme Personality of Godhead within his heart and thereby be freed from all anxieties of material existence. In this age of Kali Yuga, sannyas is prohibited because persons in this age are all Sudras and cannot follow the rules and regulation of sannyas life. It is very commonly found that so-called sannyasis are addicted to nonsense, even to having private relationship with women. This is abominable situation in this age. Although they dress themselves as sannyasis, they still cannot free themselves from the four principles of sinful life, namely illicit sex life, meat eating, intoxication, and gambling. Since they are not free from these four principles, they are cheating the public by posing as swamis. In Kali Yuga, the injunction is that no one should accept sannyas. Of course, those who actually follow the rules and regulations must take sannyas. Generally, however, people are unable to accept sannyas life, and therefore Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stressed, Kalau nasteva 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 gatiranyata. In this age, there is no other alternative than to chant the holy name of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. The main purpose of sannyas life is to be constant companion with the Supreme Lord, either by thinking of Him within the heart or hearing of Him through oral reception. In this age, nothing is more important than thinking, because one thinking may be disturbed. Hearing is more important than thinking, because one thinking may be disturbed by mental agitation. But if one concentrates on hearing, you will be forced to associate with the sound vibration of Krishna. Krishna and the sound vibration Krishna are non-different, so if one loudly vibrates Hare Krishna, he will be able to think of Krishna immediately. This process of chanting is the best process of self-realization in this age. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya preached it so nicely for the benefit of all humanity. So does this answer your question?
Yes, Prabhuji, absolutely.
So you remember this verse, huh? 3:24:35. Yes?
Yes, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, in context to this, I have one question. Like, since Vasudev is the father of Lord Krishna, so he also took sannyas, Vasudev.
Your voice is a little breaking. I cannot hear
Network problem. Yeah.
very well.
Uh,
Can you repeat again slowly?
Yes, Prabhuji. I wanted to ask that did Vasudev also took sannyas?
Vasudev taking sannyas, I have not read that at all. In fact, I don't remember him taking sannyas at all. You know, as far as I know. So Kapila, I mean, Kadamba was setting an example, Prabhupada is writing here, but Vasudev, they all were sent back to the spiritual world by Krishna. Him and his father, grandfather Ugrasen, and the principal 8 gopis and all, everybody, all those, they were sent back to the spiritual world. That I know. But I don't know Vasudev took sannyas. And the gopis and Nanda Maharaj and Yasoda were also all sent back to the spiritual world. Krishna sent all of them back, the eternal servants. Yes?
Yes, Prabhuji. So Vasudeva then took sannyas, that means, and he was just like taking care of the kingdom and like.
You see, the principle is this, the Brahmins have to take sannyas. Kshatriyas will take only vanaprastha. And the Vaishyas and Sudras will remain as grihasthas. There's no sannyas for them. This is the system. Vasudeva was a Kshatriya, so vanaprastha. Whereas Kadama Muni was Brahman, so he took sannyas. So different orders of the Varnashram have certain roles, So
Prabhuji, then Dhritarashtra, when he left his kingdom, his everything, so when he went to the forest, so what it will consider as a vanaprastha or a sannyasa?
Who?
Dhritarashtra.
Dhritarashtra, he took vanaprastha. He was asked to go by his brother Vidura. He asked him to leave the place, So he took most of them, kings, they become vanaprastha. Just like the Pandavas, they also went walking to the Himalayas, and Draupadi and all followed them, So many kings, they bring their wives, vanaprastha life. Whereas the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he took sannyas.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So different orders, they take sannyas, and kings take vanaprastha, and Vaishyas, they stay as householders. Sudras, they stay as householders. Not everybody takes sannyas. You understand?
Yes, Prabhuji.
All right, so is it clear?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for clearing the doubt. Hare Krishna.
So, any other things to add to this before we wrap up?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Please accept my humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Prabhu, regarding this topic, sannyas, I remember once you show one verse in Madhya Lila, I think. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed, I think, I'm not sure, maybe I'm wrong, one Brahmana, that it's not necessary to take sannyas as long as you make your home as a temple when you're chanting Hare Krishna, you're following. I'm not sure, Prabhu. There is one verse in Madhya Lila.
Yeah, it is it is in 7. This verse is there because the Brahmin wanted to follow Chaitanya Mahaprabhu,
Yes.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu forbade him to travel with him. He says, no, Yare Teka Tareka Krishna Upadesh, she told him to stay back and, preach. In this way you will never lose my association. 7:1-8,
7. Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu itself is higher level sannyas for Kali Yuga.
Yeah, so but then he told Raghunath Das and Raghunath Bhatt, they all took sannyas also.
Yes.
Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, they all took sannyas. So some people you order some way, something, You understand?
Yes. Yes.
So not one instruction for everybody, Someone who can be sannyas, he tells them to take sannyas, but most of them, the householders, he tells them to stay at home and preach, no? You understand?
Yes, Prabhu.
So the women all are very worried their husband will take sannyas and leave them. They are frightened. Yeah. Huh?
Oh, but this is Prabhu. Actually, this is the way they have to follow. Like they are trained as brahmachari, then grihastha, and then.
Don't worry, you just chant and wait, let's see what Krishna does. Huh? Understand?
Like,
Not everybody is, qualified to take sannyas. Sannyas is also not something cheap, no? You understand? As Prabhupada said in the purport just now, most of the sannyasis are falling down. Yes? Just now we read, no?
Yes, yes.
To be honest, not take it cheaply and take sannyas and do what? And then go with other nonsense. Yes?
Yes, Prabhu, because Srimad Bhagavatam says to take sannyas, but Chaitanya Charitamrita is different. That's why sometimes it's confusing.
Or it depends on the person. Let's see what Krishna arranges, no? Ultimately, Krishna is in the heart, no? Correct?
Yes, Prabhu.
So Krishna, if he wants, he will detach the person. If he doesn't want, well, not the person thinks, It's not that you decide or whatever. So let Krishna make the choice for you. Yes?
But I think all Prabhus who are trained as brahmachari, maybe they have to take sannyas, like under your guidance.
Not necessary. I have not taken sannyas. I'm still here. I'm going to be almost 70 years old. Right? So, what is that? You understand? Main thing is to preach, You preach Krishna consciousness. That's the most important. You understand?
Yes, Prabhu.
That's why he told the Brahmin, you stay at home, you just preach, So some people, that is for them to start the temple, preach and help others, Krishna conscious. Sannyas or no sannyas, it doesn't. That's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also said there's another verse. I'm not a brahmachari, I'm not sannyasi, I'm not a vanaprastha, I'm not Brahmin, I'm not Kshatriya, Sudra. What am I? I am Gopi in Bharata, Kamalayor Pada, Dashu, Dashunu, Dash. I'm simply the seven, and seven is seven of Krishna, You understand?
Yes, Prabhu.
So we need to just become first seven of Krishna. And all these other things we'll just see, as we grow older and older, what Krishna wants to do with our life, that's up to him, no? Yes? Doesn't mean that only you take sannyas is not necessary. Narada Muni is not sannyasi. Lord Brahma is not.
Your voice is very low, Prabhu. Hare
Huh?
Krishna.
What?
Your voice is very low.
My voice is very low.
For me, it seems fine.
To do now to increase my voice, I have to go back to the why my voice is very low.
There was some interruption, Prabhu. I noticed also.
Is it okay now?
Yes, Prabhu, it is fine.
I don't know why my voice is so low. All right, so don't worry about it. Just become, patient. Carry on chanting. Become more Krishna conscious. Yes.
Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Any other thing before we thank everybody for their attendance and participation? Everybody.
Thank you so much, Prabhu, for your wonderful association with Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you so much for
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you for the pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Wish
Hare
all of
Krishna, Hari
you
Bol.
have a very nice Guru Purnima festival.
Yes,
You all will
Prabhu.
celebrate this event very gorgeously. Please try to, if you are in Singapore, you try to come. If you are in other places, please attend this festival. Or if you are at home alone, try to make a very nice festival for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Guru Purnima. Thank you very much. Then Hare Krishna. All glories to all of you. Hare Krishna.
All glories to
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna.